Hey guys, this is XCOM, and I'm here to make a video about ender chests and their block event scheduling. I was using V3 here behind me, and during the operations of this machine, I will show a short clip where I recorded these drop stations on the flying machine on the egg dropper, reloading the chunks. And I didn't understand why they reloaded chunks, and they were reliable because they didn't actually reload the chunks once; they kept doing it all the time. And it wasn't making sense until I looked into it a little bit deeper, and I asked other guys that something is weird is going on with these chunks, and these hoppers and chests could reload chunks as well. Earthcomputer had already discovered that you could actually schedule block events from ender chests and reload chunks, but he thought it was 80 game ticks, but that wasn't the case. So I had to look a little bit deeper, and then we discovered something else. Similar to how pistons reload chunks, they can schedule block events and reload chunks so that if they are unloaded, they reload the chunks. But that's not the case. We actually looked at the code incorrectly. They actually schedule every 20 game tick. They schedule block events every 20 game ticks. And that's big because if you look at the formula in the game code, it looks like this. So we thought it was time modulo 20 times 4. Obviously, this is like this, where time modulo 20 times 4 is 80, and that's 80 game ticks, right? But this is how it's supposed to be interpreted. So what we assumed the code to look like this is actually this. And if you look at the 900 game ticks modulo 80 is not equal to 0, but the 20 is. So it means that if you actually get an ender chest into a sync with not a save, then it's going to always reload chunks. And it's kind of ridiculous. I have to actually show it in the code because if you don't see it, you can't believe it. So this is what it looks like in vanilla code. Time sync, this is the clock that is internal inside of each hopper. Modulo 20 times 4 is equal to 0, schedule block event. Inside of the update loop of ender chests. And this code runs every time the hopper updates. There is absolutely no reason for it to actually schedule block events, but it does it. It also schedules block events if the player opens or closes, any player opens or closes these ender chests. You need to schedule them because you want to see other people open and close chests, but there is no reason for them to schedule block events inside of the game loop. Just the way redundant legacy code that is in there, and it's now causing a lot of fun stuff to happen in code. Like ender chests can now reload chunks and they can be synced to autosave. So if you have an ender chest inside of your storage system, then they can permanently stay on and you can't ever unload them. So your entire storage system, chests can load chunks, and so they have a bunch of chests loading other chests and your hoppers and everything. So if you have an ender chest in your storage system, it loads everything and you can't get rid of it. There is no way to unload it. Even there is only one way to unload it, and that is by leaving the area with the player means. But if you have hoppers in the area, then you can't even do that. So it's kind of a messed up thing. They are kind of a double-edged sword, because if you put ender chests in your storage system, make sure there is no hoppers or chests inside of the same chunk. That's it. Just move this ender chests, I don't know, here where it's not near your chest systems and such. So what can you do with this? I'm using the chunk debug tool that I've shown before. So I'm going to use this tech with the ender chest system and sync it with an autosave. And we can actually see that this is an autosave detector. So we will see that in a moment when the autosave is detected, the machine will stop. I will tick warp just to speed this part up. And we can see that the chunks up here load in another section of chunks. This chunk now is the chunk with the hopper inside of it. So if I tick warp now, as many game ticks, you can see that this chunk is now reloaded over and over and over. Time is passing, but this chunk is never unloaded. So you can actually put your mob switch or something in there. And all that is inside of this chunk is one single ender chest. That's it, one single ender chest. And the only thing we did here with this complicated machine, this is a machine me and Robbie worked on. It's a very accurate autosave detector that operates really accurately was to load this chunk with the ender chest inside of it in the correct game tick, so that the ender chest is synced with the autosave. This is another design from Ed. This also does the same thing. It's a bit more compact, but this particular design doesn't work with the permaloaders. So if you have a permaloader active in your world, it doesn't work. This one is autosave detecting with a permaloader in your world. So whichever you want to design, you can use either one. This one is a little more compact. This one is a little bit bigger, but more robust, I guess. So the gist is that ender chests can reload chunks, and I mean you could use this in many different ways. You can use it to create your mob switches, or and such. The only caveat is that these ender chests, they don't unload, so it's not a mob switch per se. It's pretty much a chunk loader. You can't load this chunk and unload it. There is only one of two ways you can unload this chunk, and that is by coming here as a player and leaving the area, and hope that you didn't actually leave the area where when the scheduling happens. So there's a 1 in 20 chance that you leave the area and the ender chests keep the chunk loaded, or you restart the server. Restarting the server will guarantee that these chunks will always unload. So ender chests have like this weird property, and you should be careful if you build them near your storage systems, and you can actually use them for the most lag efficient and simplest chunk loading for mob switches and other stuff. I guess it's not a mob switch, a chunk loading, so that you can't, I guess you could come to this area and leave the area, and then the ender chest can unload, but just is that this is kind of a messed up mechanic that you should keep track of. You could probably use this mob switch for, I don't know, bats. If you never want to see bats again, you could probably use the ender chest. But you have to turn on this switch every time you start your server. But that's that. Hopefully you will be careful when you put an ender chest in your storage system next time. Bye.